Blockinger and David right over there. They both moved here about 7 years ago, live in Fredericksburg, green builders here, and very proud to talk to you today about a home they finished in March of '09. And the homeowners, Rick and Stephanie Ertel, are here as well, and I'm sure be happy to answer questions. The home, Medicine Bluff, is a finalist in the Texas Star Green Awards. We'll find out this October. And just found out this week, a finalist for the National Energy Value Housing Award, of which there are only 12 in the U.S., which is phenomenal. It's LEED Platinum certified, and without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to David.
Thank you. I wanted to spend a little bit of time preparing. Rick and Stephanie are going to present to you today what it's like to live in their off-grid home. And in seeing their presentation, it's been enlightening for us, and it's been an absolute treat to get to go through this experience with them. But I wanted to spend a few minutes up front talking about the reasons they've had the success they've had in the home that they're in is because of what they did on the front end. Their planning process and the time they spent going through what I call pre-engineering, where they took the time to do the studies, find the information, go through the design process. They spent literally 3 years plus, and it may even be more than that, before they met us, because we were involved in it for quite a while as well. And if you're going to do a net zero energy type home, or even, I mean, obviously off-grid, but I also wanted to encourage you, even if you're just wanting to build green and incorporate some green features, the pre-planning process is critical. It's going to make your experience, one, a lot simpler, but a lot more rewarding in the end. Because there's a couple of things that you should do in it, and one is set your budget, because you need to know what you're going to spend and what that target is for what you want to accomplish. And you also need to engage an architect or designer and builder in that process fairly early on so that you're getting accurate information. Because the hardest thing in doing this that we deal with as home builders is when someone brings us a complete set of plans and it doesn't match their budget. Because it's incredibly hard to go backwards in what you're doing. So we encourage you to start going through the process of talking to contractors and builders as well before you get to that final stage of plans and design. And again, that was one thing that we learned, that lesson amplified from Rick and Stephanie, because they did far beyond anything we had ever hoped in having clients do that. And what you're going to see also is a stunningly beautiful home here. They're going to talk about the questions they get commonly, which is, you know, you have no air conditioning. Would you live in the side of the hill? Is it a cave? And you're going to see a home that architecturally is stunning. And the other point I wanted to bring up, part of that reason is because they had an architect involved, and a good architect. The quality of the look of the home and the final result is also dependent on who is working on that design phase. And the process that they went through is very fascinating, because they didn't necessarily dictate the design, and that's what they're going to tell you. They dictated what they wanted the home to do and the features. And they let the architect have a lot of creative license with it. And what you're going to see is absolutely a stunningly beautiful home. I will be around if we have time. I want to leave them time to get through their presentation, because again, it's phenomenal, and it's exactly what you want to know if you're planning on going net zero or living off the grid. What is it like to live in that home, and how does it function? And again, theirs is a great example, because they went all the way completely off grid. They are not tied to the metering system at all, and no air conditioning in the house. And that's the first question everybody asks. So they're going to talk a little bit about it. I would like to ask, though, if you would, so that they can get through their entire presentation, hold your questions till the end. When they're finished, I'm going to come up and talk a little bit about the systems, but I'll also remain available outside afterwards in case we don't have time to answer more questions on the technical end, as far as what type of systems did we use and any specific questions that you might have. So without further ado, I do want to bring up Rick and Stephanie Ertel.
Okay, Teresa is going to be our slide advancer, so every once in a while you'll hear me say next. Try to ignore that. We wanted to talk just a minute about the name of our place. The name of our place is Medicine Bluff, and the design that you were looking at here while David was talking represents some of the ideas that we tried to incorporate from a philosophical standpoint into our house design. And we adopted a design from Indian rock art that you may have seen in Seminole Canyon near Del Rio, incorporating the circle, which is the life cycle symbolism for the sun, and a shaman who is represents the deer, who's the most prominent animal on our place, and a little bit touch of the river. Our property is located across Johnson Creek from the fish hatchery in northern Kerr County, so it's near Mountain Home. We have 56 acres that is basically the top of a hill, and it was a piece of property that was in our family and had never been developed for any kind of human occupation. So we wanted to respect that in building a home there. We wanted to have as small a footprint as possible and to respect the 9,000 years of human occupation that came before us, which is evidenced by 3 archaeological sites that are on the property. Okay, next. David already talked a little bit about this planning and design concept. We started by just simply studying sustainability and trying to understand all of the things we needed to be concerned about in order to have a small footprint house, whether it was water or power, or the materials that we used, or how we fit it among the trees, all of the things that are incorporated in the broad concept of sustainability. And part of the way that we learned about it was coming to the Roundup. We came to the Roundup as long as 8 years ago. We also went to similar kinds of fairs in California, at the Solar Living Institute in Wisconsin, and also the Austin Green Living Expo. So we exposed ourselves to a lot of vendors and to a lot of speakers and just tried to soak up a lot of information. And then we read a lot of books, and we brought some of them here today. Some of you may want to look at them afterwards. There's a lot of wonderful books that actually tell you the technical aspect of building a home that will be comfortable on a limited amount of power, using rainwater for your water, and not having an air conditioning system. And it's very possible to do, and we feel like we've accomplished that, but there's a wealth of information that goes to it. There's a lot of science involved in building an off-grid or a net zero home, and we're not going to do the science today, but there's plenty of resources for you to get the science. Once we identified the performance objectives of the home, then we chose where on our 56 acres we wanted to build it. And we needed, because we were building a passive solar home, which is really very essential if you're going to be off-grid, you need to use the sun's energy to help you heat and cool your home. We built the home facing south, which is actually away from the river, and into a prevailing southeasterly breeze. So our home is sited to face due south. The long axis of it is east-west, and the short axis is north-south. Then we got together with our design team. Now, we were very lucky in this because the architect who designed our home is my brother. And his name is Steve Lochte. He works out of the San Francisco office of Brand Allen Architects.